So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sanskar, and in this video we are going to learn how to create a Flutter News app. So in this news app there are going to be multiple features. So let me go through them and so that you can get an idea of what we can build at the end. So this is the app. It have all the news available from the top news sources, and I have specifically set that the country to be India so that the top news are from there, and I will show you how to change that as well. There are different categories available, and if you click on any of them, for example business, we will be able to see all the different news or the top news in that particular category. And as I said, I have set it the country to be India, so over there. Now if we click on any of these news, we will be able to open that in the natively in the web view, the website. And there is another way of doing it as well. Let me show you first of all what, like how and where we are getting that. But let me just first of all let gets clear about what we are going to build. So yeah, this is the app. It's pretty simple. Just basically we are showing all the news from the top news sources, and they will be visible in a list view. That is going to be, the data will be available through NewsApi.org. And yeah, that's what we are doing. And if we talk about the categories, there is an option and we can basically get all the news on a particular category, be it health, be it business, and all. And yeah, you can see this is health, and so do the science and sports. So yeah, that's what the app we are going to build. So now let me show you from where we are going to get the data and how can we get started to build this. So the first thing is this is the website newsapi.org. So as I am already logged in, let me just show you from the starting so that you have no problem in. So you just have to go and type newsapi.org, and this website will be open, and this is what you will be seeing, right? Get API key. So I will click on that, and then it will ask you to register. So I will just enter my name, Tiwari, and then I will enter the email, which is going to be okay. Then I'll enter my password, and then I'm going to say I'm individual and I'm not robot. I agree, and I promise to add an attribution link. So that's something which I will do as well in this app. We are going to have a powered by News API. I will do after the video. It's not something which you need to learn, but yeah. So once I will click on that, we will get an API key. So I will highly recommend just go and create your own. If you try to use this, it will not work because I will just regenerate it through this. Just click on the regenerate API key and it will regenerate the key. So without any further ado, because there is a limited usage and which is provided for free, right? Then we can go for the pricings and stuff. So this is how the data is available. And whenever I am fetching this all this data and I'm showing it in the list view, this is what we are getting initially. We are getting this, and from this data we are doing that. So as you can see, we have a description, we have a title. So we have title, we have description, and we are also getting the URL, and this is the exact URL which I'm opening in a web view and inside another screen. And we also have different things like author, we have source. So we can show these all things. I will be fetching major of these. I'm not just showing all of them just to make sure that our app is not, too much to create in like hour or 2 hour video. We don't want to like extend it more than that. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. So the first thing, I have created a new Flutter project, and I hope the text size is the font size is good enough to be visible, and I'm just going to get rid of that. And now I will go inside the lib folder and I will create a new package. Now if you're using Visual Studio Code, that's perfectly fine, it will work just the same. There is no difference in that, so just want to be clear about that. So in lib folder, we are going to create a new folder, and that's going to be views. Inside views, I'm going to create a dart file which is going to be home, and then another dart file which is going to be, so we need one home, we need one this article view, and one of them will be this category news. So home is there. Now we need article view, then we will create another view, and that's going to be category news. Okay, so we have all of these done. Now what we will do, I'm just gonna back, and I'm going to, now we need to get that. So let me scale it, and we will do import material.dart. Then we will create a stateful widget. Why I'm creating a stateful widget? Because I will be using the init function to get all these categories, which will be saved in another file. So let me first name this home, and I'm going to come over here and say home and get rid of this. Then I will make the primary color as white. Why? Because as you can see, there is no, this the primary color of the is white, right? The top. Okay, so this is the name which you will see, so that's not a problem. Now we also want to get rid of that, you know, like a red strip type which we have. We are just going to set it to false. Yeah, so that is done. Now let's me just do one thing. Rather than just opening up the app, let me just take a screenshot of this page and maybe a screenshot of this page. Not must, but yeah. And let me just close this and open it up. Open this one which we are building right now, and let me open those screenshot. So these will be at the side, and we can have a look what we want to build, and at the another side we can see what we are building. So just a second. Okay, we can just a little bit. Yeah, okay, so now these things are done. Now we have created a home and we have an article view. Let me just do a very simple structure like material and just creating the widget. So let's just go for a stateful in this one as well, article view, and in the category news as well we are going to say import material. Okay, and then I'm going to create a stateful widget which is going to be category news. Okay, so right now you can see it's black because we are returning a container. If I make it a scaffold, it will be white, and now inside of that we need an app bar. So as I can see, this app bar consists of two text. One is Flutter and news. So I'm just going to go inside the app bar. I will say app bar, and it have this title property, and it will, we are going to say row, and we say children text, and I'm going to say Flutter, and I'm going to say text, another text basically, and it's going to be news. Now as we can see, the color of the news is blue, so we are going to use a style, and I'm going to say color and colors dot blue. So far it works perfectly. If I save it, you can see we have this, but one thing which you can notice is we don't have an elevation in this, right? So how we can get rid of that? We can just come out of the app bar, right, and then we can say elevation, not out of the app bar actually, the title. So elevation will be 0.0. So now you can see the elevation is on. We also want to make sure this to be in the center, right? So the thing is, if you provide any kind of title over here directly by using the text, then you may have noticed that the center property is already true, which is this center tile, right? This is already true, and by doing that true, it's not going to be in the center. So the thing which is happening is row is taking all the space, and as row works like in a horizontal arrangement of widgets, so it's taking all the space. So what we can do, we can use a property which is main axis alignment. I can say main axis alignment dot center, and it will put this the center. Now as far as the size, I think the font size is good enough. We don't have to work on that a lot. So now let's move on to the body section of our scaffold. So in the body we can see we have these particular things. We have a whole category section, and then we have the list of news, right? So right now let's first build the UI, then we will get the data, fetch the data, and show it, right? So let me just have a container over here. Okay, so now I'm going to build a stateless widget, which is going to be a tile of this particular, not tile, but kind of, you can say, one view of a list view, you know, like that, which is going to be replicated however you want to call it. I'm going to call it card, or basically category tile, and inside that we are going to have a container. So this is what we want to build, right? So as you can see, this it has an image, and because we are going to have a text above it which is going to be of white color, there should be making sure that we don't have like kind of overlap. For example, we have one image which is white, right? So we don't want this text to be not very easy to see in the white background. So what I have done, I have added a black color, right, container above that. So we can do that by overflow and different stuff, but I'm going to do it by stack. So we just have to go and child, we can use stack. What stack is? A stack is like a sandwich. You can put multiple things one above the another, right? If you have been Android developer, you can understand this by relative layout. So that's how the things works. So now we talk about the stack. We have the first thing to be image. Okay, and the image which we are using, it's actually through the network. Okay, these images are not saved on the asset, at least that's how I have done. If you want, you can save them, but what I have done is basically fetching them through the network. So to get the URL, we can directly like hard code it, but we want these to be different, right? So what I will do, I will just create a string which is going to be a final, because this is an immutable. So I will create a image URL, and then we are going to say category tile, and I'm going to say this dot image URL, and I'm going to have one another property which is going to be category name. So category name. Okay, so once that is done, we are going to, okay, I have done one spelling mistake. Okay, now it's fine. So now what we will be doing, we will be using that over here. I can just say image URL and we have it. Okay, so we have the image. Now what's more? Now we have a particular structure over here, guys. You can see we have a width, and that's actually 120. So I can say width 120, and the height is, I think it was just a second, 120, and the height was 60. Okay, let me just move that. Okay, so we have an image, we are fetching that through network. This is the image URL which we have provided. This is the width of the image which you want, and this is the height of it. All is fine, but we haven't have given the data which we'll be fetching and showing you here, right? So let's go into the project and go inside the lib folder and create a new package or folder, and I'm going to call it helper. Inside that helper, I'm going to create a new Dart file that's going to be called data. Inside this data, we are going to create a new list, and that list is going to be returning a list of category model. So of course we need models, right? So I'm going to go inside the library folder, lib folder again, and I'm going to create models package or folder inside of it, and I'm going to create a new Dart file which is going to be called, let's call it category model. Okay, and that's just the category model is basically going to be class, guys. It's going to be category model. Okay, it's this category model, and then we will have two things in this. We will have category name, and then we will have a string image URL. So these are the two things which we need. Now I'm just going to close that. I'm going to zoom it a little bit, close this a little bit, and I can say category model, and I can say this is going to be called, name of the function will be get categories, and inside of it I can just, let me import this model. So I can and import this, and I'm going to say list, and it's going to be category model and I'll create, basically I'm creating a new list, and it's going to be called categories is equals to new list, and let me make it category model. Okay, so we have a category list now. This is something which we will be returning at the end. Now I will create a new model as well, which is going to be category model is equals to new category model, and I'm going to add all this. So the first category of ours will be category model dot category name, as you can see it here, which is business, and category model dot image URL is equals to, now we need the image URL, guys. So I will be doing this. I will be going to unsplash.com, and I will search for business, and that's the first image which I used. Just click on it, click right click, open image, a new tab, and you'll get the image. So let me paste that, and we have it. Okay, so let me do one thing. I'm going to go to view and make active editor as wrap. So now you can see it's like wrapped up. Okay, so we have both of these in the category model. Now what we want to add this category model to our list of category models. So I'm going to say category model, and that's done. Just after that's done, we can say category model is equals to new category model, just to make sure we don't have any kind of, you know, last details and just fresh data only. So I can just replicate it, but I want different details, right? It's going to be entertainment general. So rather than going and typing it out in front of you for 20 minutes or something, I'm just going to go. I have actually uploaded the code on the GitHub. Okay, I'm in the incognito mode. Can I open up the new window? Yeah, it's fine. So I'll just go on GitHub, just a second. By the way, guys, I have a lot of open source project. If you haven't checked out my GitHub, make sure to give it a look. I am more than confident that there will be something which will be beneficial for yourself. So this is the one, and let me just go inside the library folder. We have not models, but actually we want to go inside the helper and data. I'm just going to copy the image URL of these different. We have data. Okay, from the second we can just copy it till the fifth, not fifth actually, but whatever. So now I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to paste that, and I'm going to say return category. Okay, so we have some naming convention naming issues, so I'm going to fix that. I'm going to select it, and we want to change this category model by this. So I'm going to replace them all, and then I'm going to replace this one. So we have the category model, this one, so I'm going to replace that. But okay, wait a second, these both are same, then what's the problem? If I get rid of this, what will happen if I get rid of that? Because these are different as well, so I can just replace this by this, and I can just paste this and replace all, and I'll replace this as well. I will copy this and I will paste this and replace all. So that is done. Now the next thing is basically I will replace this one with this, and it's all done. Okay, by the way, guys, the code of course is the on the GitHub, so you can just check out. The link will be in the description so that you can go through. If you face any problem, if you have anything errors and something, you can just make sure that the code is same and it should work perfectly fine. So as the data is perfectly done, guys, what we have done in the data, let me just give you an overview of just a game. So this is what we have done. We have basically created a function which is going to return a list of category models. We have added the different category models, which is basically two things which every category model have: category name and image URL, which we will be fetching. So I can now close the data dot file. Now I can come back to my home page, and now we want to get this data, right? So what we will do, we will go inside the init state. Now if you understand the life cycle of the Flutter application, what you can understand is this init state will be called whenever our application or this screen will be initiated or like open. So what will happen is whenever the screen gets open, this is the function which will be called. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a list first of all, which is going to be of category model. Okay, and then I'm going to call it, let's say, categories is equals to new list, and I'm going to give it category model. Perfect. Now what I can do in the override, I can just go over there, I can say categories is equals to get categories. So this is the function which we have created in the data dot file, and we can easily access that. And what this is going to do, this is going to get all these categories from that function which we defined, and going to save this to this category variable. Now moving on, in the container or this body, what we want to show, we want to show this list, but we know that there is another thing as well in this, right? So it's not comfortable to have just a single child. Now one thing as well, if we want to arrange two different widgets, which is basically a list view, horizontal list view, and a vertical list view in a vertical manner, then what we will use, we will use column. So let me say column, and then we will have children's, and inside of children's I'm going to have my first children as, or basically the column children out. So the first children will child will be list view dot builder, And inside of that, you may already understand the list view takes the first thing, which is important property, is going to be item count, which is going to be categories.length. And then if we go inside the item builder, we can go inside the context, and then we can say index, and then we can basically do this. I'm going to say return. Now what are we going to return? This is we have to return a widget, guys, right? So this is the widget which we created for this. So I'm going to say category tile. And now if you were like have any confusion why I use these curly braces, this is for the named parameters. So what I can do now is I can say image URL, and you can see we have said one first what it is, and then we are like giving the value, which is going to be categories index excuse me, index dot image URL, right? Okay, so then we can say this is image URL. Now the second thing is going to be category name. So we can similarly go categories index dot category name. So yeah, what we have done, we have fetched the data from the data, and now we are being it should be visible, but the list is actually vertical right now. So let's see if I restart this app, what we can see. Okay, do we have any errors? Yes, we do. So first go to dot analysis. Okay, it's showing no error, but it's showing an error. Okay, so make sure to, whenever using inside a column, make sure you are using shrink wrapped row. I think that's the thing which we are missing. Okay, so now you can see we have all these images lined up perfectly. Now what we want these actually to be horizontally, these are vertically. So what can we do? We can just go over here. What do we want to change? We want to change the scroll direction. So I'll say scroll direction. How do we want that? We want the axis to be horizontal, so we will say axis not horizontal. And if I save this, okay, this is added, then you can just go height and give some little bit extra, just if the size of that is okay. So we can see we have it. Now one thing which you may be noticing is the size, or basically the width of each one doesn't look exactly same. It is for some, but it's not for all. Why? But because we have given the width equally to all. So what is the problem? The problem is the dimension of them. So we won't have to stretch it or kind of try to cover it, the whole space which we have provided. So for that we use some property which is called fit property. Inside of it we can say box fit dot cover, and now if I will save it, you can see they have taken all the space which we have provided. But this doesn't look something like this, because this have these like border radius as well, right? So we have to provide that. But before that, let me create a container which is going to have this text. So I can say child, it's going to be text, and that text is going to be the category name. Okay, so let me just give it a style, text style, and that's going to be colors dot white. If I will save this, you can see we have that. Now that's the exact thing which I was talking about. Right now, if you will try to see this entertainment, it's not visible, right? It's like torturing someone to see that. So we want to make sure there's some kind of like black shade. So how I'm going to do that? I'm going to use decoration. Why I'm using decoration when we can directly provide the color over here? Because with the color of like black, we also want to make sure we are providing the border. Otherwise it will be something like you know, let's see, let me just directly give it. So the first thing which we want to do, we want to make it border radius of give border radius to the image. So we can do that by wrapping it in a widget which is going to be clip r rect, and inside of that widget I'm going to say border radius, and border radius dot circular, and let's go for 6. Now if I will save it, you can see we have a border radius around each of them. Let me do one thing as well, and let me provide a margin which is going to be edge insets dot only. It's going to be right hand side, which is going to be around 16. So if I will save that, you can see we have a bit of margin as well, but still the text is kind of not looking very good. So what can we do about that? So we are going to go over here. We are now going to add a color, as I said, colors dot black 26. If I will save this now, first thing first, you can notice like it's just surrounding the text. Of course, that's the normal thing which will happen. So we will provide it. Okay, Control C, and then we will paste that. So now it's covering up the whole, but now if you can see these corners, like the black is there, but the black should be having a border radius as well. So I'll just copy that, and I can come over here, decoration. We will provide a box decoration. Inside of that, I'll say this. Now if you have a color outside of box decoration and you have a decoration as well, then it will be an error. So let me show you how. So if I'll save, that will be an error. So I'll just cut the color, paste it here, and save. Now it's perfectly fine. Now you can see the border radius is visible. Okay, so what's the next step? Next step is going to be providing this a bit of padding, which is going to be edge insets dot symmetric, and horizontally I want to provide a padding of 16. Okay, so that's done. Now the next step is to have this text in the center. So how are we going to do that? So in the container we have a property which is alignment property, which is used to align these the child of the container. So I'm going to choose the alignment property to be center, which will help me align the text in the center. The next step is going to be the font size, which I have given in the app. So I'm just going to give it a font size and font weight. Font weight was around 500. So this is all our category section done, guys. After some time we will also be adding some gesture detector. So let me add that. I'll wrap it with a container or wrap it with a widget, which is going to be gesture detector. We are going to use a property which is on tap property. So gesture detector helps us to like have an on tap property, which means when we click on that widget, we will be able to perform a function. Okay, so now we have this category tile done. So it's not very close right now. We have to work on this now, right? So first thing first, let me create this tile. So I'm going to go at the bottom. I will create a new stateless widget, and that's going to be called, let's say, block tile. Okay, so in the block tile, what we have an image, we have a title, we have a description. So let me start by having the variables. So the final, it's going to be string, okay, a string, and that's going to be image URL, the first thing first, and then we want a title, then we want a description. Okay, so these things are done. As it is final, we have to use a block title and named parameters dot image URL and this dot title dot this dot description. Of course, these are required parameters, so I'm doing this for this one as well. Like I'll show you how this works, the required parameters, because this is must, guys, right? If I have a block tile and it doesn't have an image, that doesn't kind of make sense. So this is what we will do. We will have a container just to make sure we can provide it margin and padding. That's why I usually use, even if I'm using container or a column or row. So for this we will need a column. Why I'm using a column? Because we have things or widgets which we want to arrange in a vertical manner. So inside of column we will say children's. Inside of children's we are going to say image dot network image. As we have used earlier, we are going to use an image through network. Of course, this time it's not going to be something like hard-coded or something. We are going to fetch it from the newsapi.org. So yeah, it's it's quite close, guys. Just bear with me. Once this will be done, we will be moving on to fetching the data. So let me say title, not like that. Okay, text and description. Okay, so overall our kind of a wireframe is done. Basically, if we are able to fetch the data, it will be kind of visible, not fully, but yeah. So yeah, this is what we have right now. So now let's move on to fetching this data which we have over here, which we will be showing as a block tile. So let's move on to the news API. Let me just close this. Okay, so this is the website, guys. So you just have to go over here and have an API key. We already got it, right? So now the next step is going to be using this link. So this is what will happen if we go for this. So let us first go to http pub.dev. You can directly type it, but it's just how I have done it right now. So you just copy that http, go to project, go to pubspec.yaml and zoom it a bit, and just go inside this and just paste it. Other than HTTP, yeah, that will be fine for now. We will be moving on with different things, but yeah, one thing also, like cached image, cached network image. I can actually directly type it, but I'm not sure why I don't do that. So if I search for that, it's going to be showing me this. This is something which we will be using to cache the network images which we are getting in the categories, because these are not something which are going to be changing, right? So caching them will be a good idea. So the flutter get is running, and hopefully, okay, it's done. Okay, so as it is done, now what's the next step? Next step is to fetch this data. So for that, I'm going to go inside the helper class, and inside of that I'm going to create a new Dart file which is going to be news. And inside of that news is basically we are going to create, we are going to create a new class which is going to be called news. And inside of that class we are going to create a list, and this list is going to be a list of articles. Let's say you can call it article, blogs, whatever you want to call, but it's going to be a list of article model. So I'm going to go inside the model and I'm going to create a new model which is going to be called article model. Inside of this we are going to have some things, class article model. So what I'm actually trying to do, is all these different values we have over here, we can basically create a model for it so that we can easily fetch and show the data. So what are we having over here? We have a string, we have the author name, which we are not going to use, so let's skip that. Let me just have it, so if you want you can show it as well. So we have author, we have title, we have description. So you can see there are two things, guys. The first is the description and there is a content, right? So content will be the whole content, and the description is something which you can show as a short description kind of. Okay, so we have description. Now we need the URL as well, so I will say string URL, then I will say URL to image, then we will have string content. Okay, that's done. Now let's move on to the news one. I think it's important. No, it will not be the first thing which we have to do. Let's give it name, for example blogs. We are calling it news, so let's call it news, and then let me just make sure it's not null. And now we can import the article model. After we have successfully imported it, now it's the time to like save the URL we will be using to fetch the data. So this is going to be the URL. Let me, and it will be different for you. This actually this is what is going to be different for you. So now I will just go over here, copy it. Actually we don't want to like get everything. What we want is we want the headlines for the main page. Then we will be working on how we can get the according to categories, but the first thing is getting for the headlines. So for headlines you can, I think it's just at the side of it, yeah, top headlines. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it here. What have I done wrong? Okay, so we have it. Let me do active editor software app. There should be a property like we can do it for all, I'm not sure, but yeah. So this is what we have done. Now we have the URL by which we are using by which we are going to fetch the data. So now it's time to use the HTTP. So let's import that first. So I'm going to go at the top, I'm going to go here, I'm going to say import http.dart and as http. Okay, so it's fine. Now we are going to create a variable which is going to be response. So what is this? This is going to save the response which we get, right? So I'll say await and http. Now to use await, we want to make sure it's an async function. No, sorry, this is not where we are going to do that. We are going to do that inside of a function. So let's just cut this all string and create a new function which is going to be future, and it's going to be void, because we are not going to return anything. We are going to name it get news, and now we can make it asynchronous, and we can paste this here. Okay, so we are going to await an http dot get request, and this is going to be the URL, this one. Okay, now we are going to get that JSON, so I'm going to say variable JSON data. It's going to be equals to JSON decode response dot body. So we are going to decode whatever the response which we got, and we will say if JSON data status, which is this. Okay, you can see JSON data status equals to okay. Then we are going to move further, and we are going to say JSON data. This is basically the data which we got, right? The JSON response, and we can say articles dot for element, and this is going to be this for each. Okay, so articles is fine. Okay, so we will say okay. So what we are going now, this is the what is this next line? This next line is basically going inside this article, and as you can see, this article is actually kind of a list, or a list, what we can call it, of models, right, which we created. So we are going to go for each basically one by one, and we are going to get all the data and save it. So how we are going to do that? We are going to say if element URL to image. So while I was building this for app, what I realized is sometimes what happens is URL to image is not there. Now if the URL to image is not there, what actually is the problem is we will have no image, and without image it doesn't look good. So what I did is basically come up that, you know what, we will add a basic if condition, that if the URL to image is not equals to null, and element description is also not equals to null. We don't want that description is not there, right? We can do this for title, but I haven't noticed any article yet without title, right? So that's why. So now we have make sure that all the articles which we are getting have a image, and as well as they have description as well. Okay, so the next step, we are going to use article model is equals to article model, and inside of it we are going to say title. Okay, so I think I forgot that, which is the important part. Let me create a constructor for this, and it's going to be this dot auth. Let's just call everyone author, this dot title, this dot URL, this dot description, this dot oops this okay, this dot content, and this dot URL to image. Okay, so we have defined the constructor. Now we can go inside the article views here, and now we can say that the title is going to be element and then title. So what am I doing now? If you can see over here, in this one, that this is title. Where is it? Here it is, right? So inside of articles we have selected our element. This is what we are doing for when I did for each, is it's basically going on each element one by one, right? So we have this element, this is the whole element which I have selected over here. Inside that element, what I'm saying, that we want this property, and we want this property, and we want to save that property to title. I hope that's clear. Now moving on, let me just have this over here. Okay, so now we want to do that for similarly for others, which is going to be, I think, author, then same author, and we have, let me just open that up. Yeah, so we have author, and then we have a description element and description. Okay, and then we have a URL, so I can say URL, and that's going to be element and URL. And if I will move on, there is URL to image. We're going to say element, and we are going to say URL to image. Okay, the next step, we have the published at. So I haven't actually done that. Okay, let me just have that published at. So if you want, you can use it. I'm not going to use that, so I was like at, and I'm going to have it as like the constructor. Okay, now we can go inside that again, and we can get that as well, published at element, and that's going to be published at, and make sure to spell everything correct, whether it is camel case or things, but it's important. And for the content, we can say element. Well, I'm not going to use the content. If you want, you can play with it. The reason why I did not like got the content rather than I was showing in a web view was basically because if you are using the free plan, then it shows something like this: all the text, then plus 608 characters. So that doesn't looks like an actual app, that is like dummy or something. So we want to make sure that we are using the API and we are creating something which is something you can add in your portfolio, or like is working app, right? So that's why I just open up the URL in web view, so it's like in the app itself, so it's a good experience as well. He's not going out of the app again and again for just opening one news. So yeah, that's what we did. So now the article model is created. Now the next step is going to be adding this model to, where are you, this news. So where are we, this is it. And I'm going to say news dot add article model. It's pretty similar what we did in data, but in there we will just hard coding it, and in there this one we are getting it from the API. So if this if you have any doubt regarding this, make sure to comment down below. I will more like to help. It's not a problem, feel free to comment it. I will be more than happy to help you. So if we go into the list, and now what we want, we have what was that, article model, right? Article model, and we can say articles is equal to new list, and it's going to be article model. You can see same thing, and we will come over here, we can say articles. Okay, now this is a process which will take time, right? So we are not going to define it directly like we did for get categories, because the get categories part was something which was happening automatically, right? So it was easy, you can just call the categories equals to get categories and it was done. But if we talk about the next, like this one, article, in this one we are not going to do it that easy. So what we are going to do, we are going to create, let me do it this way, let's just create a new function for this. Inside that we can say it like get news something. Okay, so we will say get news, and inside of that we are going to use that news class which we created. So I'm going to call it, I'm going to say create a variable out of it. I'm going to say equals to news. So why I am not using new, because according to dart2 and stuff, you know, like you don't have to. Now we can say this, that, and then we will say await. We have to go for async in this, await. Now why I'm using this, because you cannot directly use async over here, it's not good. So yeah, now we are get news function and async, and news equals to news. Now what we want to wait until the news dot dot get news. Okay, so we will be waiting till we get the news, and once we do, we are going to say news, or basically articles dot is equals to news dot news. Okay, so you can call it like this if you're getting confused. this is the news class and this is the inside of it property, right? So the next thing which we are going to do is we are going to set the state to be okay. So we have set it that, but we don't have this variable for now, so I'm just going to create this loading is equals to true. Actually this is going to be false because initially it's going to be true, so it will be loading, and once that we will get the data, it will be loading equals to false. Now how am I going to use this boolean value is basically I will go inside this container, I will use this conditional way, and I will just have a question mark like boolean and then question mark, and then if it's true, then I would like to show a container with a child which is going to be circular progress indicator, and I'll make sure that this container is and if it is if it's false, then it will be showing the content. Now I want to make sure that this is in the center, so for that what we can do, we can wrap it inside a center widget. So now if I will save it, okay, so no, not the right time to save, of course. So okay, so now we have this circular indicator, we are getting the data, so now it's time to show the data, right? So let me just give it a bit of comment. So this was categories, and the next step we want to have is blogs. So let me just do that, and I'm going to say list view, I'm going to say container, I'm going to say child, and inside of that I'm going to say list view dot builder, and then I'm going to say item count, and it's going to be, now we are going to get the item, this is this articles dot length, and why are we getting that error? Because we missed this. Okay. So we have provided the item count, now we want the context, and then we want the index. Done. Any problem? I don't think so. We will be returning the blog tile, I think I named it correct. And what do we want in the blog tile? So in the blog tile we want image URL, title and description. So I'll say image URL, and that's going to be articles index and dot image URL. So what is the name of the image URL over here? Like, okay, you can see image URL to image is null for this, right? That's what I was talking about. If the URL to image is null, then we will not be showing those articles on our feed. So if we go for title, we can say articles and index dot title, and we can say this for description, articles index dot description. Are we correct? I think so. And it with a semicolon, and we are having one error. Let me fix that. Okay, what is the error? You forget to add a semicolon, the most important error to make, otherwise you're not a programmer. Okay, so let me just wait for a second till it loads. I think it's not going to, because I have just saved it. So let's reload, hot reload, because we want to make sure that the init function, okay, we're not even calling this. How am I supposed to get the data? Now it's fine. If I save it and hot reload, it should load up the data. Okay, and handle exception, string is not a subtype of date time. Okay, so we are going to parse and different things. So let me just get rid of it, guys. I'm not going to get that. You can actually parse that. I'll show you after some time, but like at the end, if we have enough time, I will show you that. It's not a big deal, but it's just not complicated for that. And I can hot reload it again. Okay, so now we are facing this error, which is good to have, because if I go back to home, I can see I have a container, I have provided a list, and I forgot the one thing, which was string wrap, and I'm going to save that again. Oh my god, what is this? So too much text, too much text. But I think this is the title, this is description, and all these things are there. So yeah, first thing first, as I said, I'm fetching the date. So this is how we can change the country and how you can change the country to your preferences. You can just go over to the documentation section, click on documentation, and I think it's mentioned over at the top headlines. Yeah, over here you can see all these different countries are mentioned. So for me, I am going to take India, so I'm going to use IN. Okay, so now I'm going to close this, and one thing which you can also notice is that the all this there is a like bottom overflow. It's the most problem which you will face in Flutter. So this is not a big issue. You just have to go inside this container and wrap it with a widget which is called single child scroll view. So if you save that, it's perfectly fine now. Okay, so what's the next step? Next step is we need the padding in this one as well. So I'm just going to copy that padding, and okay, is this copy? No, I just provided the padding to both of them now. Okay, so what's the next step? Now we are fetching the data, guys. Now we want to show it how we want to, right? Not how it is visible right now. This is the UI kind of which we want to create. So let me do what we need to. So the first thing is basically we can notice there is a kind of top padding which we have provided. So I'm just going to go inside it. I'm going to say padding, I'm going to say edge insets, and I'm going to say only, and top I'm going to provide around 16 as a padding, just to give it a little bit of that. Okay, as I said before, we have like imported this cached image network. So what that does is basically all these images you can see like are loading again and again, and that's not the best use of the internet of your user. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just copy this network usage. I have already imported it, installing like adding this dependency to the pubspec.yaml, and after copying that I can just go to the category style and replace the image.network with this. And then when we are providing this, I'm okay, first let's import that, and then we are going to say it like this, and that's all what we have to do. It's done. If I will reload it, it will be getting the Indian image, oh sorry, Indian content, Indian top headlines and stuff. Okay, so now we have it. Now what we want to do is, now I want to, okay, it's taking a bit of a time. Any issues or missing plugin exception, get them. Okay, so whenever you do use cached, I do face this kind of problem. I don't know why that happens, but basically try to like rerun the app. Okay, so what will be the next step? Next step is going to be providing the border radius to the image, a bit of a spacing at the bottom, a styling to the title, and a styling to the description. Okay, so let's go. So this is blog, and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say style, text style, and I'm not actually 100% sure how much the font size I provided. So let's go with something like I think 70 will be fine, and we can provide this one style as well, and that's going to be text style. Dot colors dot gray. Just wanted to make sure this is a bit lighter than this one. We can okay, colors dot black 87. So if I will save this now and have a look at it, okay, is it load? Okay, now you can see like, but it's quite very like too much. We don't want that to be that low. What about 26? I'm not sure how much darker 26 is, but not that much as well. What about 54? Yeah, that looks fine. So now if I can go in the container, I can just give it a margin of edge insets dot only, and I'm going to provide it a margin from bottom of around 16. So we just have some space over there. I'm also going to give it some sized box over here with a height of, let's say, 8, just to have some spacing. I don't think height of 8 is very good. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think height 8 is fine. Okay, so now we have given that. Now we want to make this image circular in border. So how we did it before, we are going to wrap it with a container which is going to clip our rect, whatever. So now we will say border radius dot circular, and same border radius as we have provided to the categories tiles. Okay, so I think it's pretty close. I think I have provided some kind of font weight to this as well, so let's try that out. About 500 or maybe 600 would be good. Definitely I haven't provided 6, but I think I have provided a bigger text size. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe 17. I think the color is pretty dark compared to this, or is it just me who is thinking that? I'm not sure. Okay, so I think the text size is of course more, and I have also, like, I think it's look okay. Now you can see this scroll is having problems. So how we can fix that? We can just go to the list view and we use a physics property which is going to be clamping scroll physics. If you save it, it will be smooth. Okay, so things are working good, fine. Let me just have a look if we have any problems. Okay, so it's fine, guys. Now the next step is going to be creating these category news screen, which will be open once we click on these. But before that, let's build the article view, which is going to be something which when we click on this model, we will be able to see the whole news in a web view. So let's do that. So for that, what we have to do, we will go over here. We will say web view and web view Flutter. I think that's the one. Flutter.dev. Just copy this all. Go to project, pubspec.yaml, and paste that. Packages.get. Close that. Minimize that. And now we are going to go inside the article view. Okay, so inside the article view, we want to show this article in a web view, which is basically we will be sending the URL from this screen to that screen, and we are going to load that URL on a web view. So this is how we are going to do that. We are going to go inside the container. We are going to say child. We are going to say web view. And the web view have initial URL property. So we need the URL. So how we are going to get that? We are going to get that from the home page. So I'm going to create a string final, and that string is going to be called image URL. And we need a constructor. So I'm going to say article view named parameters. So image.url. Okay, anyways, so let me go to the home, and inside of home we are going to, okay, so what do we want? We want whenever someone clicks on any of the blog, whether it is image, text, or description, he will be able to redirect it to the next screen where he will be able to see all the full blog in a web view. So I'm just going to I'm going to wrap the container with a gesture detector. Now, if you have particular preference, for example, if you want to add a button, you can just surround that with gesture detector and use the on tap property. If you want to have this only for the image, you can do that, like by surrounding the image, or basically this clip rect with gesture detector. So now what we will do, we will say navigator dot push. So if you don't understand about this push, there are different properties like push replacement. So what push does is basically it will be putting one more kind of, if you're an Android developer, you understand it by activity. So what it's going to do, it's going to put another activity above this activity, like, or in normal words you can understand, it's going to push another screen above of this screen. So basically there will be a back option, right? So now I'm going to say material page root, and inside that material page root we will have a builder property. Now inside that builder property we are going to provide the context of the screen which we are in, and we will say tell it on which screen we want to go. So I'll say article view. Now inside of article view we also want to provide the URL. So we are not getting that right now, right? So I'm going to say URL, and I'm going to say required parameter, okay, required, and this is going to be this dot URL. Now let me get this from over here. You can see when I did that required, now it shows that URL is required, right? If you will not use that required, it will not show that. So articles, we will have index. So let me go back to this and see where are we getting the URL to that blog. So we are directly getting that URL. So I can just say dot URL. Okay, so we have that URL inside our block tile. Now we want to send that to the next screen, so we can say, I think I have set it image URL, which is not correct actually, but let me fix that. So to fix that, you just have to go to the article view, and I'm just going to click on that, right click, refactor, rename, and I'm going to call it blog URL. I'm going to save that. Okay, so now we have a blog URL. We can put that inside the blog URL, which is going to be the initial URL. Cut it and say widget.blog URL. Okay, now we have that, but now we also there is one other property of WebView, which you can have a look over here, which we want, and that is going to be, where are you? Okay, it's not mentioned over here, but we want one more, which is going to be the controller of it, right? So now we will be creating a controller, which will, you can do a lot of other stuff with that, but our primary goal with that will be to, just a second, yeah, our primary goal will be to just have it. So I'm just going to go inside the article view, and now let's create it. Okay, so the first thing which we will be doing in this now is going yeah, above the override method, and we are going to say final, and it's going to be completer, sorry, and it's going to be web view, and I miss spelling, it's going to be capital web view controller. Okay, and that's going to be controller, it's going to be it's not controller, it's completer. Okay, so completer, and then we will say web view controller, and it's going to be done. Okay, fine. Now what we want to go inside this, we will go over here, and inside of that web view we will have another property which is on web created. We will say web view controller, web view. Okay, is it stateful? That's why we are not able to access it. Yeah, so widget dot web. Okay, no, we just have to define it. So web view controller. Okay, we want to do it like this, I think. Okay, inside of this, what we are going to say, we are going to say completer dot complete web view controller. Controller. Okay, now we have that. One thing which is missing from this is basically the app bar, right? So rather than just creating it again and again, I'm just going to come over here, copy the app bar. By the way, you can just I have tried that article view and app bar. Sorry. Okay, actually we need a scaffold first, and then we will need app bar, and then we will paste that. I can just get rid of this, and it's not going to be in that, it's going to be here. Yeah, so it looks fine, but there is one problem, guys, which is this. Let me save that, and now you can see we have all these images. If I click any one of these, this is not what I like. It just kind of deviates from the center. So for that, what we can do, not the best practice I think, but this is what I am thinking about, like just having an icon. Okay, an icons dot any random icons, it doesn't matter, and we are just going to wrap it with a widget which is going to be a container, and that container can help us to give it padding, and that's going to be agentsets dot symmetric around horizontal around 16. Okay, we have provided the padding, and I will wrap the container with a widget which is going to be opacity, and that's going to be opacity of 0. So if I will save that now, you can see we have that. We don't even need the icon. I'm just using that so that it's like the size is same. We want to make sure that it's working for both. Okay, so now the thing is, it's not loading this, which it should, or is it taking time? Let me see. So we are getting the blog URL, we are loading that up over here. So what can be the problem? Maybe the height and stuff is issues. So let's do one thing, we can provide it a height. We can say media query of context dot size dot height width media query dot of context dot size dot width. If I go back and I click on another article, let's see if it gets loaded. Okay, opacity is fine. Flutter News. So the main thing is not loading up for some reason. We are using WebView, we have imported that successfully. We are using material.dart. Other than that, what can we do? We want, okay, so let's do one thing. Let me just close this up and restart the app again. Okay, so it is finally launched. Now what we can do is, if I will click on any of the blog, for example, if I click on this first one, we are getting this trying to embed a platform view, but the parent, okay, got it. We need to have this key, guys, for iOS. It will not be a big problem for Android, but for iOS this is a must. So what you have to do is go to the iOS and then runner and then info.plist. Inside of that, make sure you are doing this after a string or an array, and then you can just create a key, just end the key, and then you have to paste this and the value to be yes. So the value will be basically string have a slash. That's all what we need. And if you restart the app again, it should work perfectly fine. Let's see if it does. If it doesn't, like, we just need to reload that. Parallel context does not support embedding. Paint context does not support embedding. So it's saying that it doesn't support embedding. I think that's the issue of that. Let me just fix this. I think like the info list, let me just confirm that it's perfectly fine. You just have to go inside that io.flutter.embed view previews key, and then yes. Okay, so let's run it again. Okay, so it's finally launched. Now if we try it again, for example, let's try another news. Okay, something interesting, nothing interesting. Okay, so if I click on news, okay, now you can see it's working perfectly fine. It's opening up the web view and the URL according to the blog. Okay, so this is done. Now the next step is going to be creating this category section, and let me go inside that. So guys, by the way, like, if you are like feeling great and if you are liking what I have here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure to hit that notification bell to never miss out on other content which I will be posting soon. So, and also let me know in the comments what are your views about this. And yeah, let me just move on to the next one, which is, if we go inside the views, now we have to work on this category news. So what do you want in the category news? Well, we basically want, whenever we click on business, it should show me all the news um, regarding business. So first thing first, we need to have some kind of way to fetch only business kind of category details. So I'm just going to create another class which is going to be the same. So I'm just going to call it category news. Okay, category news. It's going to be same. Now we will be using a different URL this time, because of course, like, we want to have that. So what we will do, we will go inside the, if we close this, we can go inside the everything. That's what we are going to do. Oh no, actually we are going to go inside the top headlines, and we have this category options over here. I'm just going to copy that, and after this, rather than this, I'm just going to say category is equals to, and we need to get that category through the get news. I'm just going to say string category. Okay, and then I can use that category over here, and that's going to be equals to, and that's going to be end. Okay, so this should work. Okay, so what we will be doing now, if we go to the category news, first thing first, we need a scaffold. Then second thing second, we need the app bar. So for app bar, I'm just going to copy that from the article view. It's going, because it's going to be the same problem, like we are going to push. So copy that, paste it here. If we talk about the main and the articles, it's going to be similar to this blogs. So I'm going to just copy this from this, and I'm going to go inside the category news, and where is the app bar ending? It's ending over here. So after that, I can say body, I can say container, I can say child, I can say column, I can say children, I can say down. It's done. So now we need articles, and we need to import that. So how we are going to do that? I'm going to say list, I'm going to say article model, then I can say what are you. So it's going to say I am articles. So it's okay, new articles. Done. Oh, awesome it is. Okay, so this is list, article model, articles, news, new list. You can even provide the that article model, and we are going to fetch that in the init state like we did in home. It's going to be very similar, guys. Just if I can just even copy this function, and I can call it get category news, category news, and import this. We don't have a loading in this, so I'm just going to create one loading is equals to true. And what do we want more? We want to get category news. Okay, so what's the problem? If I go category news, okay, so it's going to change that. I have actually changed it whole, so we are going to say it like this: category news, and get news. That's what it is called. Yeah, get news. I think I have updated that as well. Where are you? By the way, guys, if you feel anytime that I'm being a bit hurry, I am because I don't want to be it to be so long that people don't even start watching it. It's like, so news class don't get news, but the main motive is to learn, like, make sure you learn it. If you're not able to, make sure to let me know that the speed is fast or something like that. Just I will make sure to make that better next time. So news class dot get news, it's saying that get news isn't defined in category news. So we get inside the category news, we can see there is a function get news, but this is saying we cannot use get news. Okay. So what is category news? Let me go inside. Okay, how is this possible? this is the baddest thing which you can do. So this is like category news class, which I can call it. Now if I will paste this there. Okay, and yeah, let me copy that and paste that there. Get news, and now it will ask for the category, but we haven't got the category in this, right? Which we will be getting from the home screen. So I'll just create a new variable string. I'm going to call it category news, and I'm going to say this dot category, and over here we can just basically pass this widget dot category. Perfect. Now I can say that get category news. We are saving all these two articles and it should work perfectly fine, but block tile is not defined. We can actually save this block tile in another widget and we can access it for both of these, but for the sake of time let's just not do that. But it's a good thing, good practice to just reuse widgets, right? And I'll go back and I use that loading property. Even I think we will be using that single child scroll view, because this is going to be long as well, right? So single child scroll view. Okay, we have an error over here. It's saying the article view is not important. So what we want that whenever we click on block tile, we want, okay, it's just basically asking you to import that. Why are you making it so complicated? Import it. Okay, so now what? We have a category news, and inside of category news we have defined the app bar. We have this, and we are getting the category, or are we not? So for getting the category, we will go inside this category tile, basically this one, and we will surround it with gesture directory, which we already have done. Now we will use the navigator.push property, and context will be there, and we will say material page root. Inside the material page root we will say builder, and then we will say context, and then we are going to say where do we want to go. We want to go to category news. It will say, okay, can you provide the category? So we will say, I think so, category name, but it's capitals, so dot to lowercase. Okay, excuse me, to string dot to lowercase. It was working perfectly fine. It's final. Okay, now you can get rid of this dot to string and semicolon. And now if I save this, rather let's hot restart, and let's see. So we have all the categories different available. Okay, we have all these image which are loading up, blogs or news which is loading up, and which is the top headlines in India. If I click on business, it loads and it just vanishes. I think there is the URL is not perfect. Let me check that out. So we have category, we have country India, we have okay, we have provided the category 2 times, and in the front, okay, just a second, in the main we are even providing the category. That's not a good idea. I think we should just get rid of this category. I think that's why. Yeah, so then we should just get rid of this category, and I should hot restart it. Now you will notice some other news in the homepage as well, right? Okay, now if I will click on this, it's working perfectly fine. If I will click on business, it should work perfectly fine. Let's see if it does. Okay, so it's not working perfectly fine. So there is some issue in the URL which we created. So category is named category CEGE. Category is fine. I have given in that, and I have given that to be top headline, right? Headlines. Yep. So let me have a look. So we have this. We have if we say published, and if we say that category is that version 2 top headlines country India, Okay, so okay, okay, so what we have to do, we basically have to cut this category, and we firstly will say that country is India, basically telling that the top line headlines in India, and then we can provide the category which is going to be um, but after using the and, then we can say category is equals to this. So now if I will hot reload, which is going to reload the whole app, we must be able to see something like that. So if I will click on news, okay, so this is news, it should work perfectly fine natively in the app. I can close this, I can go in the business, and it should show me the business news. Okay, is there any key issue? I think the key is okay. So the way we will be doing that is making sure that this is correct, because as you can see over here in the category section, we have these different categories available. So in the top headlines, if you go in the documentation, then top headlines, over here in the categories, these are the different categories which are available, possible options. Now the problem which we are doing is like we have misspelled that, so I will just go back to project and then data, and then over there I will just, inside the category I will just update this spelling of busyness to business. Now if I will save that and rather hot reload, and let's open up some other one. For example, let's open health news and see if the news is regarding health. I think so. So this is all what people are talking about right now in health, but sorry. Let's open up something like entertainment, and okay, so yeah, it's working perfectly fine. So the next step is basically giving it a padding which we have in the home. So inside the home, if we can go, we have this at the top. Where are you? This is the padding which we have provided. So I'm just going to copy that, and inside the category news, we are going to provide the same padding. So just over here, if I will save that, you can see it's looking perfect now, right? And yeah guys, so our app is done successfully, and hope you learned something today. I'm really trying to add as much value as possible, so if you did get some value, make sure to let me know in the comments. Give this video a like, that helps me know what content is helping and what is not. And yeah, if you think somebody can help from this, make sure to share it with your friends. And for upcoming videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get a notification whenever I put on new videos.